We are counting down the 10 best budget gin brands under $50 that prove you do not need a craft label or a top-shelf price tag to drink like a pro. From workhorse bottles that win blind tastings to herb-forward gins you have probably overlooked, these picks balance history, mixability, and serious value. Which gin rises above the hype to claim the top spot? Let us dive in, starting with number 10. Seagram's Extra Dry Gin sits quietly on the lowest shelf, but don't let the price, or the yellowish tint, fool you. At around $12 a bottle, Seagram's is rested in charred white oak barrels, a move that softens the rough edges most budget gins can't hide. The result is mellow, slightly sweet, and far less aggressive on the juniper than its London Dry cousins. Sure, it's not winning awards for complexity, but if you want a gin that turns supermarket tonic and a lime wedge into a drinkable gin and tonic for the cost of lunch, this is your starting line. Ugly bottle, solid pour. New Amsterdam Stratusphere Gin is the bottle that finally gets the vodka crowd to give gin a real shot. For about $15 to $20, you get a gin that tastes like orange creamsicle with a hint of vanilla, almost no pine, and barely a whiff of Christmas tree. Launched in 2008, it is the poster child for the new Western style, where citrus takes the wheel and juniper sits quietly in the back. Purists roll their eyes, but the numbers do not lie. This is one of the best-selling gins among people who claim they hate gin. If you are allergic to pine needles, start here. Just do not expect it to hold up in a martini. This one is all about easy, sunny mixers. Gordon's London Dry Gin is the old guard that never left the building. For about $15, you get a recipe dating back to 1769, straightforward, unapologetic, and loaded with juniper. It is the gin that shows up in a plastic bottle, gets side-eyed at the checkout, and then wipes the floor with so-called premium brands in blind tastings. Critics and bartenders alike call it the best gin under $15, and for good reason. It is crisp, dry, and unmistakably gin. The packaging screams cheap, but the liquid is the real deal. If you want classic London Dry flavor without the craft markup, this is the benchmark. Boodles British Gin stands out for what it leaves out. There is not a single citrus peel in the mix. Instead, you get a London Dry priced at $20 to $25 that is built on sage, rosemary, nutmeg, and a backbone of juniper. The result is clean, earthy, and unmistakably savory, a gin that feels more like a blank canvas than a finished painting. Bartenders reach for Boodles when they want to control the citrus themselves, tossing in a fat wedge of lime or a twist of lemon right at the bar. In a martini, those herbal notes play beautifully with a dry vermouth. In a gin and tonic, the lack of built-in lemon means your fresh garnish actually matters. For anyone who is tired of bottled citrus and wants to tinker with their own flavors, Boodles is the mid-shelf pick that rewards creativity. Broker's London Dry Gin comes in swinging at 94 proof, which is rare in the $20 to $25 range. Most budget gins hover around 80 to 86 proof, but Broker's cranks up the alcohol by volume, and that is not just for bragging rights. The extra alcohol gives it a spicy, crisp profile that refuses to vanish when you pour in tonic or pile on ice. Bartenders love how it keeps its backbone in a martini or Negroni, where weaker gins tend to get drowned out. The taste leans classic. Juniper up front, coriander and earthy spice right behind, but it is the resilience that sets it apart. Even after a long night and a lot of melting ice, Broker's still tastes like gin, not watered-down vodka. Ignore the goofy bowler hat on the cap. This is the workhorse high-proof gin that punches well above its price. Bombay Sapphire is the gin that made blue bottles a status symbol on every bar shelf. At around $25 to $30, it is positioned as premium, but still lands comfortably in the budget zone. What sets it apart is vapor infusion, a method where the spirit passes through a basket of 10 botanicals, picking up flavors without the heavy boiled notes of old-school distillation. The result is light and floral, with lemon peel and almond standing out over a gentle juniper backbone. It is smooth enough for newcomers to gin, yet complex enough to hold its own in a martini or a gin and tonic. Bombay Sapphire is the diplomatic answer to the juniper wars. Elegant, approachable, and it always looks more expensive than it is. That is why it is the go-to bottle for anyone who wants a crowd pleaser with real pedigree. Citadelle Gin comes out of the Cognac region, but this is not a brand cashing in on French romance. It is a heavyweight with 19 botanicals, delivering boutique complexity at mid-shelf prices. For around $25 to $30, you get a gin distilled in copper pot stills at Château de Bombay, the same place that turns out high-end cognac. The recipe reads like a perfumer's dream: violet, almond, orange peel, cinnamon, grains of paradise, and more, all layered over a classic juniper base. Critics love to call it a $60 gin in a $25 bottle, and they are not wrong. The floral and citrus notes make martinis and French 75s sing, while the complexity stands up in a gin and tonic with ease. Citadelle is the connoisseur's move for anyone who wants craft flavor without the craft markup. Tanqueray London Dry Gin doesn't bother with a long list of botanicals or fancy marketing tricks. It's $20 to $25 for a reason: pure, unapologetic gin flavor. The recipe sticks to just 4 botanicals: juniper, coriander, angelica root, and licorice. What you get is a classic pine punch with a backbone that doesn't flinch, even when buried in tonic or shaken into a martini. Bottled for export at 47.3% alcohol by volume, Tanqueray cuts through mixers and stands tall in any cocktail where gin is supposed to be the star. Bartenders call it the handshake gin. Order a Tanqueray and tonic, and you are telling the bar you want real gin, not a citrus-scented compromise. No citrus peels, no floral distractions, just the clean, sharp taste that defines London Dry. For anyone chasing the textbook definition of gin, Tanqueray sets the standard: bold, reliable, and always ready for another round. Ford's gin isn't just bartender built, it was made to be the Swiss Army knife of gin. Simon Ford and a crew of working bartenders spent years tweaking the recipe, running it through every classic cocktail they could throw at it: martinis, Negronis, gimlets, Tom Collins, you name it. The result is a gin with a classic juniper core, layered with bright citrus, especially grapefruit, and a floral lift that gives off a jasmine vibe. The flavor holds up whether you are stirring with vermouth, shaking with lime, or letting it duke it out with Campari. Even the bottle is engineered for service, with straight sides for a solid grip, volume markings for quick measuring, and a shape that slides perfectly into a speed rail. At around $25 to $30, you are getting a gin that is literally made for mixing, built to shine in every drink on the menu. No gimmicks, just pure function. That is why Ford's is the bartender's secret weapon. Beefeater London. Dry gin doesn't just wear the crown, it earns it, bottle after bottle. For around $20 to $25, you get a gin that is still distilled in the heart of London, at the Kennington Distillery, where tradition is not a marketing slogan. The secret is a meticulous 24-hour steep of 9 botanicals: juniper, Seville orange peel, lemon, coriander, angelica, licorice, almond, and more, soaking in neutral spirit before hitting the copper stills. That slow maceration is what gives Beefeater its unmistakable depth: bold piney juniper, bright citrus from the Seville orange, and a soft almond finish that lingers just long enough to remind you that you are drinking the real thing. Every serious bartender knows Beefeater as the MVP of the rail. It is the gin that stands tall in a martini, slices through Campari in a Negroni, and turns a basic supermarket tonic into a bar-worthy gin and tonic. No other gin at this price hits the sweet spot between power and balance, Enough backbone to shine in cocktails, enough subtlety to sip neat if you are feeling traditional. While other brands chase trends or slap on a craft label to justify a $60 price tag, Beefeater sticks to what works. Big juniper, real citrus, and a price that makes sense. The gold standard, undisputed. You want world-class gin for $20? This is it. Across all 10 gins, one truth stands out. Value is not the enemy of quality. The classics and new contenders alike prove you do not need a steep price or flashy branding for a world-class drink. In gin, flavor still wins over hype. What matters is in the glass.